This is my UDL presentation. So my school information is I observed at Dover Elementary in the 2nd grade. My lesson is over literacy and the time frame is 45 minutes. The different types of learning diversity in the classroom is that there are 10 females and 11 males. Exceptionalities are there are 4 gifted students, 4 learning disabled, and then I have 2 developmentally disabled. However, they are not in the classroom and they only come in the classroom a couple hours in the afternoon. They're not even on the roster. The different types of ethnicity I have in the classroom is I have 1 Asian student, 1 Hispanic student, and the rest are Caucasian. For alternative settings, the whole class as a whole goes to GT 2 times a month, which is all 21 of them, and then I have 3 that go to a resource room. Technology and considerations are text-to-speech, which is electric devices, voice output processors, and a microphone. And then my visual representation is a video on YouTube of someone reading After the Fall, How Humpty Dumpty Got Back Up Again by Dan Stannett. Diversity of instruction is proximity to the teacher to monitor time on task, explanation of transitions and procedural beforehand, frequent praise on appropriate behavior and listening skills, immediate feedback on assignments and tasks on him, as well as encouragement to verbalize the steps to complete an assignment, so talk themselves through it. My expectations of the students are to be respectful of themselves, others, and the teacher, and to not interrupt or blurt out. Patiently wait for their turn to speak, as well as using their listening ears when someone else is speaking. The routines that we have in the classroom is when the bell is rang, everyone must stop, freeze what they are doing, and listen. This is to grab their immediate attention and help with transition. A countdown is something we also use, and we start by 3, 2, 1, and there's silence. And this is to regroup and to get back on track with the lesson or assignment. We also raise our hand when there's a question or a comment, and this is to prevent blurt-outs and distractions. The goals for my students in this lesson were for students to be able to identify sequence order details of the story from beginning, middle, and end, and then for them to be able to recall the setting and characters of the story, as well as distinguish the point of view of the story. My standard was SL 2.2, recount or describe key ideas or details from a text read aloud, information presented orally or through other media. And the objective was students will recall details from a text read aloud and answer questions with details and comprehension with at least a score of 15 out of 18. The materials that I used for this lesson was the YouTube video of someone reading After the Fall, the story cube on the iPad, 1 per group, storytime worksheet, and a storytime rubric. My UDL considerations for students that needed it were preferential sitting, short instructions 1 to 2 steps at a time, repeated instruction explanation if needed, and extra time for completing assignments. My method and models are visual and auditorial, as well as the lecture method and buzz groups, and my multiple intelligence were visual, verbal, and auditorial. The summary of my lesson is that we will review what key details are in a story and what they will be looking for, such as beginning, middle, settings, characters, and point of view. We will play the video of the person reading After the Fall on YouTube, and then students will break into groups of 4 and will play a game on the iPad with an interactive cube that asks about key details of the story and take turns talking about one thing that the cube will land on, such as characters, the point of view, setting, beginning, middle, and end. Students will be asked to independently work on a worksheet where they will have to write out the beginning, middle, end, as well as setting, characters, and point of view of the story. And then we will come back together as a whole and discuss what they learned and why is it important to know and understand these things. On my presentation, I have what the interactive cube looks like, and so is the worksheet. Then I have the rubric. And then the technology that I used was the video on the smartboard, the iPad for the interactive cube, and the microphone for verbalizing instructions. And I also had the parent communication letter. And that's it.